Alright guys, we've got the Championship League season starting this weekend, and ahead of the season getting underway for the English second tier, I'm going to take a look at 5 bold predictions here. 5 predictions that I think are not particularly the most likely. They go against the grain in terms of the bookie odds, but ones that I think could well happen this season. So let's have a look guys, let's not delay. Let's get into this. So, at the risk of repeating what I said in my League One predictions for last season, I am going to go for Birmingham City to not make the top 6. I know, this might seem a little strange, this might not seem like that bold of a prediction, but Birmingham, surprisingly, are the 3rd favourites on the bookies odds to get promoted. I think they're going to have a good season. They've been making some good signings. Obviously, last season they won League One at an absolute canter. They smashed that division to pieces. Top 6, though, I think is a possibility for them for sure. I think automatics is probably asking a bit too much. I do rate the chances of Ipswich Town, Southampton and Sheffield United significantly higher than Birmingham. But I think for Birmingham not to get into the top 6 would be a bit of a surprise. I can see it happening quite comfortably, but I don't think they're going to quite have enough to do it. I think it's just a bridge too far. I think they'll be very solidly mid-table, maybe knocking on the doors of playoffs, but to get into the top 6, maybe asking a bit too much. May well eat my words on that, because last season I said that Birmingham wouldn't get promoted from League One. So, you know, Birmingham fans, they absolutely love to get in the comments on that one. So, if you're still sticking around from those days, get in the comments. Let me know how wrong I am if that's what you want to say. But let's move on to the next one. One of the favourites to make the playoffs this season as well is Norwich City, and I'm going to go for them not to make the top 6 as well. I don't know why Norwich is so highly rated. They were a yo-yo side back in the day between the Championship and the Premier League, but they've lost quite a few key players. I do believe Borja Sainz has been moved on, and a few other players have been moved on as well. They have reinvested that money in the squad, but honestly, Norwich, for lack of a better term, last season were very mid. They were very average, and I don't really see them doing better this time around. I think they'll be solidly mid-table. I don't think they're going to go down or anything like that, but I don't see them getting the playoffs despite what the bookies seem to think for some reason. One of the favourites, the second favourites to get relegated this season are Oxford United. Now, last season I said that none of the promoted sides from League One to the Championship were going to be relegated, and I was correct. Derby, Portsmouth and Oxford all stayed up. Oxford were the heavy favourites to get relegated last season, and they didn't. They were relatively comfortable, lower mid-table, no problems at all. It looked a bit shaky halfway through the season, but they recovered from that, and they've got a fantastic manager as well in the form of Gary Rowett. So I'm going Oxford to survive again. They are the second favourites to be relegated this season. I think again they'll be solid mid-table, maybe lower mid-table, maybe have a few hairy moments here and there, but I think with the manager and the way they've got the team playing, I think they'll be absolutely fine. They're a decent side. There are a lot worse teams in the Championship than them. But who are going to go down? Who is going to go down this season? Well, I've got a few bold predictions here in terms of who I think is going to be relegated, and the only side that I think is going to be relegated after being promoted from League One, Charlton Athletic. I do like to see them up in the Championship. It was great seeing them back in the second tier, but I don't know. I just don't think they've really got enough in the Championship this season. I think it's going to be nip and tuck. I can see them surviving, but overall, I don't really rate their chances that highly personally. They're not the biggest spenders. They only got promoted by the playoffs anyway last season, so they might well survive. They might well prove me wrong, but I think if one of the 3 promoted sides is going to be relegated, it's going to be them. Wrexham and Birmingham, they're going to be fine. They're going to be absolutely fine this season, no question. Wrexham, an outside shot for the playoffs this season, but I think they'll be mid-table as well, with Birmingham maybe a little bit behind them. But I think Charlton Athletic could well get relegated this time around. And the last prediction, I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday to not be relegated. Nah, I'm just joking. They're going straight down, no problems with that whatsoever. Stoke, though, I think are going to join them. I think Wednesday, Charlton and Stoke City are going to go down this season. Stoke have been on the verge of being relegated to the 3rd tier for the last 5 seasons or so. They've been in and around that lower mid-table for so long. They've just had enough to stay above the dotted line for so many years now. But I think their luck is going to run out. It's difficult to say if they're going to go down or not. The likes of Hull City, the likes of Swansea City, QPR, they've all been kind of in and around there for quite some time now. Derby County as well, I considered saying they were going to go down. I was thinking of saying Hull City are going to go down because of the chaos there at that club, but I want to go relatively bold. Hull are the 4th favourites to be relegated. Stoke, though, they're like the 10th favourites, so I'm going to go for them instead. But what are your bold predictions for this season, guys? Predictions that are not particularly likely, that go against the grain when it comes to bookies odds. I want to hear you have to say in the comments below, as always, on this. Like, share, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.